The Blue Mosque, one of the best monuments in the whole world. Look at the blue skies. The blue river behind it. The 6 minarets. And the beautiful blue tiles that embellish its interior. And a fountain just outside the mosque. Such a stunning view of the Blue Mosque in the evening. Another one. I have never seen such beautiful place ever in my life. And look at the tiles, the verses of Holy Qurans on the walls. The architecture cannot be better than this. And remember, at 600 years before. And this is the man, Sultan Ahmad I, who produced such a beautiful architecture. This is Hagia Sophia, on which that masjid was being built. It has a long history. This Hagia Sophia, currently a museum, has a big history. Another view of beautiful monument. And this is the internal area of Hagia Sophia. So my dear students, this is the beautiful pictures of places being mentioned in your chapter, the Sultan Ahmad Mosque. Looking forward to the beautiful reading of the chapter. A shining light for all to see, a symbol of truth through eternity, a place of worship for divinity, a symbol of strength to the community. My dear student, Assalamu alaikum for the 5th lesson, our online language learning program. My dear students, today we're going to talk about Sultan Ahmad Mosque, its significance, and what are some of the things that we need to comprehend for the sake of our examination. Also, we're going to talk about the significance of mosque in Islam and what are its benefits, what are the characteristics attached with the mosque, and what is the possible history of Sultan Ahmad Mosque. So for that, my dear students, we have for today's lesson we have 4 main objectives, so that we can have a clear framework what we are going to do in this week. The first one is to distinguish about the history of Blue Mosque. This would be the first objective of the week, so that student could learn what is the history of Blue Mosque, where it is situated, who made it, and how was it made. So these are some of the important things that would be included in our first objective. The second one is students will be able to comprehend the text with its explanation. Yes, this is our usually we do through our comprehension lessons. We read out the chapters and try our level best to comprehend the text with some of the explanation by the teacher. So the third objective of the lesson would be to recognize the varying position of adverbs. Students often find problems when they have to put adverbs. First of all, you need to know what is adverb. what are adverbs. If you are good at adverbs, now the time has come. You have to put the adverbs in your sentences. For example, in your creative writings, in your paragraph writings, you have to put the adverbs. You have adverbs and you have to put into your sentences. So we will discuss where to put the adverbs. I will relate it with the previous week's lesson number 3, where we have discussed adverbs and its type. The fourth objective of the lesson would be to illustrate the use of the present perfect continuous tense, and in that we would also discuss the use of since and for. So my dear students, before moving forward to the chapter comprehension and its reading, I would like to tell you these are the 3 main references I have used for my lecture. The first one is obviously your English textbook from Punjab Textbook Board, page number 73 to 80. From within these pages I have discussed all the things. The second one is one of the best websites for English language learner as a second language, and the third and one for building up the introduction of mosque and Sultan Mosque. I have used Getty Images. So these are 3 references I have used for my lesson. So to move on, my dear students, this is our chapter, Sultan Ahmad Mosque. A picture has been pasted on the book, but I guess now you have a clear idea of the design of the mosque in the introduction. I hope you liked it. I hope now you have bamboozled by the beauty of the mosque, and you are ready to go to the Turkey and to see the Blue Mosque whenever the time comes. So my dear students, to start with the first paragraph, I want you to read with me and underline the following words, and if there are some extra information you have to write around the corners of your book, so that if you are somewhere else, you have your book with you, so you have complete ideas what we are talking about in particular paragraphs. So the Sultan Ahmad Masjid is one of the most impressive monuments in the world. Monuments means shahkar. Monuments means one of the beautiful places, one of the best and beautiful places of the world, the architecture. So it is also known as the Blue Masjid. It is called Blue Masjid. You have seen the blue tiles in its interior. That is why it is called a Blue Masjid, because of the blue tiles that embellish its interior. Embellish means beautifying. So blue tiles beautifies the interior of the mosque, and this is the reason it is called Blue Mosque. Situated in Istanbul. Istanbul was the capital of Ottoman Empire. Currently the capital of Turkey is Ankara, but if you talk about the Ottoman Empire, the capital was Istanbul. This is one of the beautiful cities of the world as well, having a river around it. The largest city in Turkey and the capital of Ottoman Empire. We named it as Osmania Sultanate from 1453 to 1923. It has become the most popular tourist attraction. Yes, I have told you this is one of the beautiful cities of the world, so it has a big tourist attraction. So you have seen dates 1453 to 1923. It does not mean that Muslim rule Turkey and the surrounding in the world for only these years, but my dear students, before Ottoman Empire there were Abbasiya Sultanate and Banu Umayyad Sultanate, so and that Mughal Sultanate in Asia as well, Mughaliya. So Muslims ruled the world in different eras with different names. So this is one of the empire of Muslims, Ottoman Empire. And if we can move forward to the second paragraph, it was constructed between 1609 and 1616 during the rule of Ahmad I. I have shown you the picture of Ahmad. As was the custom, this masjid, like the other masajids of the time, comprises of a tomb of the founder. If you can see the previous, the ancient mosques, they are always a tomb of the founder who established the mosque. Usually the ancient mosques have the tomb of the founder as well. So similarly, this mosque till now also has a tomb of its founder. A madrasa where students learn Quran and tafsir, the explanation of the verses of Holy Quran, and a hospice. Hospice means the people who are travelers, if they're stuck in a city, they can stay over there. In Pakistan, our current Prime Minister inaugurated panagas. So the laborers who are working in Lahore, if they do not have any houses, they can stay at there. So this is something characteristics of the previous of the ancient mosques. If we can talk about ancient mosques, so this is one of the thing that is attached with the masajids. Yes, the construction of the masjid started in 1609. The royal architect Sadafar Mehmed Aga was appointed by the Sultan as in charge of the project. So he was the architect, Sadafar Mehmed Aga, who built that mosque. The opening ceremony was held in 1616. Unfortunately, the Sultan could not see the completion of the masjid in his life. It was completed in the reign of his successor Mustafa I. So unfortunately, the Sultan who started the mosque could not see the completion of the mosque. So his successor Mustafa I saw the completion of the mosque. So in the first three paragraphs we have seen why Sultan Mosque is called Blue Masjid, where it is situated, in which era it was being made, who made it, and why it is being built. So these are the three reasons we have discussed, three characteristics of the mosque we have discussed. So this is a descriptive kind of a lesson where the writer has used a descriptive analysis of the mosque. So if we can move forward to the next slide. The Blue Masjid reflects the architectural style of both the Ottoman Masjid and Byzantine Church. So Byzantine Church was the Eastern Roman Empire. So Ottoman means Osmania and Byzantine Church. So Roman Church and Osmania Masjids, Ottoman Masajids, if we can combine together, the royal architect Sadafar Mehmed Aga took the idea of the architecture of the mosque from these two things: Ottoman empires, the previous mosques, and the Byzantine Church. So on these two designs, the Blue Mosque was built. Hagia Sophia, a masjid, one of the wonders of the Muslim architecture, was kept in view as a model. Yes, I have shown you the pictures of Hagia Sophia. It was built by Muslim, and then it later part it became church. After that it became again the masjid, and now currently it's a museum. So on the design of Hagia Sophia, Blue Masjid was built. The Blue Masjid even today is considered to be unmatched in splendor, majesty and size. Splendor means richness and majesty means greatness. Size means obviously the size. So In greatness, in richness, and in size, there is no match of Blue Masjid. The masjid has a spacious forecourt surrounded by a continuous vaulted arcade. Spacious forecourt. Spacious means vast, big. So it has a spacious forecourt. In front of the mosque there is a forecourt. In Urdu we can say sehn. You can, if we have a proper word for that. Surrounded by a continuous vaulted arcade. Arcade means a type of an architectural design. If you can Google it, vaulted arcade. I will show you. Here it is. So this is the design of vaulted arcade. It has ablution facilities on both the sides. Ablution means wuzu in Urdu language, and ablution means cleanliness and cleaning. In the center there is fountain, which is rather small in contrast with the magnitude of the courtyard. So there is a fountain, beautiful fountain in the forecourt. It is beautiful. I have shown you in the introduction. A heavy iron chain is hung at the upper part of the court entrance. This is important to study. I'm going to read it again. A heavy iron chain is hung at the upper part of the court entrance at the western side. So at the western side there is currently available as well. There is a part of the mosque, and you can say the entrance of that part has a chain. Why it was being hung? There is a reason. So what was the reason? This side was meant for the Sultan alone. Sultan usually came from that place. Currently there is no umpire system in Turkey. There is a democracy system in Turkey, but in the time of umpires and sultanates, so at that time Sultan usually came from that western side. The chain was put there so that the Sultan had to lower his head every time he entered the court. Now in the countries at that time, if we talk about 15th, 16th, 17th centuries, when Ottoman empires were on their superpowers, the king or the Sultan was everything in the country. So why the chain was hung? There is a reason. So that Sultan, when entered the masjid, could lower his head so that people can see the Sultan has to bow down in front of one thing. What is one thing? That is Allah Almighty. Because mosques are the place to worship, and it is also called the house of Almighty Allah. So when the Sultan enters the mosque, he has to lower his head to show that Sultan also has to bow down in front of someone, and someone is Allah Almighty. It was a symbolic gesture to ensure the humility of the ruler in the face of the divine power. Why the chain was hung and why Sultan had to lower his head? It was a symbolic gesture to show that king also has to bow down in front of someone, and that is Allah Almighty. People used to bow down, not bow down actually, in respect of the king. They pass greetings, and when they start passing the greeting, they has to lower their heads. So this is the humility from the public to the king, and the king's humility to the Allah Almighty. So this was the custom at that time, you can say. The sixth paragraph, the interior of the mosque at the lower level is lined with more than 20,000 handmade ceramic tiles in more than 50 tulip designs. So if we can talk about the interior of the mosque, the internal area of the mosque, at the lower level is designed with 20,000 handmade ceramic. Ceramic means built on clay, on clay, in more than 50 different tulip design. Tulip is a flower. On the design of tulip, 50 different tulip designs, the ceramic tiles being made, and the lower part of the mosque is designed with 20,000 handmade ceramic tiles. At the gallery level, the design become flamboyant with the representation of flowers, fruit and cypresses. Flamboyant means colorful, so the gallery level becomes colorful with the representation of flower. There are flowers, there are fruits, the design of the fruits, and there are cypresses. Cypresses are trees, so according to the designs of some flowers, some fruits and some cypresses, the gallery level has been designed. If we can move forward to paragraph number 7. The upper level of the interior is adorned with the blue paint. More than 200 glass stained windows with intricate mean complex, mixture of, the design is mixed, allow natural light to brighten up its interior. So if we can talk about the upper area of the mosque, upper level of the mosque and the internal area, 200 glass windows have been attached so that the natural light could come inside and could enlighten up the internal area. And the chandeliers further illuminate it with their glow. Chandeliers means hanging lights. You must have at your home. I do have in my room as well one of the chandelier. The decorations include ayat from the Holy Quran. Yes, you have seen in the introduction there are ayahs written on the walls and also on the floor, not on the floor but on the walls of the mosque. The floors are covered with carpet. Usually it happens in Pakistan as well that the floors are covered with the carpets. If you can move forward to paragraph number 8. The most important elements in the interior of the masjid is the mihrab. Mihrab is the area where the imam of the mosque, the leader of the mosque, laid the prayer, which is made of finely carved marble. To the right of the mihrab is a richly decorated pulpit. Usually when the leader, imam, on Friday or in some other days when he has to deliver his lectures, his lessons, or khutbah of Jummah, khutbah of Friday, or the speech of Friday, he has to sit in a particular high area, so that is called pulpit. The masjid is so designed that even when it is most crowded, everyone in the masjid can listen to and look at the imam. So it is designed in the way so everyone can listen and look at the imam. If you can move forward, the royal room is situated at the southeast corner. It has its own pulpit that used to be decorated with jade and roses. Jade and roses are two types of flowers. So there is a royal room as well in the southeast of the mosque. So it has also its own pulpit and which is decorated with the types of flowers. The blue masjid has 6 minarets. Yes, beautiful minarets. 4 minarets stand, one each at the 4 corners of the mosque. Each of these pencil shaped minarets has 3 balconies, which balcony means where people can stand or imam can stand. While similarly you have your own balconies in your home as well where you can spend your time, while the other 2 at the end of the forecourt have only 2 balconies. So this is simple. I have shown you in the introduction. You can again go back to the introduction and you can see the minarets and the balconies in them. In the evening, a large number of tourists and Turks gather in the park facing the masjid to listen the call to listen the call to the evening namaz. The masjid is flooded with lights, and so are the hearts of the believer with divine love. Yes, the masjid at evening is being flooded nowadays as well, even with lights and with the light of the faith of the Muslims as well. Though much has been lost of the Blue Masjid over the years, yes, when the Ottoman Empire diminished by the elite forces, much of the beauty of the mosque has been lost, but yet it has not lost the love of its visitor. The masjid is still one of the most visited monuments of the world. It has no doubt. There is no doubt that it is one of the most beautiful places of the world, and it has the most number of visitors in the world. You can Google it for this. So this is what we have learned in this lesson, my dear students. I hope everything is clear to you. With that, we are moving forward to the next thing, that is the meanings of the now I have changed my strategy. In the last week we have 4 lessons. Now in this week we have 2 lessons. One will comprise of the whole book. I mean, I'm not talking about the whole book, obviously. I'm talking about the whole chapter. And then the second lesson of the week will include the suitable verbs lesson. So this lesson particularly will involve each and every aspect of this chapter. So without wasting much time, we are moving forward to the next thing. But before moving forward, this is a beautiful chapter, and this is a beautiful description of mosques. How mosque is built. You should build your love. You should build your love for the mosque. I'm talking to the boys. You should go to the mosque to appreciate the beauty and to offer prayers. The prayers can enlighten up your way of thinking, your way of getting the things. So my dear students, you should read it twice, thrice to know and enrich yourself with the beauty of this chapter, with the beauty of the description of this chapter, so that we do not have any problem in future about this chapter, the text of the chapter, the comprehension of the chapter, so that we cannot or we should not leave any aspect of the chapter. So I will not talk about we have talked about it. Embellish means decorate, integrate means to collect, splendor means richness, majesty means greatness, illuminate means to lighten up. Circle the correct antonyms from the given choice of the underlined words. Antonym means opposite means. Impressive means, yes, remarkable, but its antonym would be unimpressive. By putting a prefix with impressive, it becomes unimpressive, and it changes the meaning, opposite meaning. Situated in Istanbul, the largest city in Turkey. Largest means largest, and its antonym would be smallest. This answer of A would be correct. A heavy iron chain is hung at the upper part of the court entrance on the western side. Heavy means big weight or heavy weight, and its antonym would be light. So option number C would be correct. The upper level of the interior is adorned with blue paint. Upper means upper, and its antonym would be lower. The floors are covered with carpet. Covered means to circle around something, to circle something by something, and its antonym would be exposed. So option number B is correct. So if we can move forward, there is an interesting exercise on page number 77. Exercise number D. What do the following abbreviation stands for? This is important, my dear students, since you have to go to the big colleges, universities in future, and you have to talk to the public, to the people, to your parents, to your friends. You should have some knowledge about the world as well. So I'm happy that the writer of this book have included this information. So page number 77, exercise number D. What do the following abbreviations stands for? Some of them I have not included because they are not important, but most of them I have included. USA means United States of America, UK means United Kingdom, and the others as well. PhD means Doctor in Philosophy, MPhil means Master in Philosophy, NADRA, where you get your entry cards when you will grow up to 17 years, is ISSB. If someone wants to go to Pakistan Army, Pakistan Air Force, or some other big institutions, organizations, so he or she would go for inter-service selection board for his examination or for her examination. WAPDA, Water and Power Development Authority, MNA. You should know about this because of the current political situation in Pakistan. MNA means Member of National Assembly, MPA means Member of Provincial Assembly. IMF, you must have heard about IMF. IMF means International Monetary Fund, where we get loans in the past, and currently we are also getting the loans. UNESCO, United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization. These are all the part of UN. I have mentioned over here, United Nations. You should ask from your Pakistan study teacher what is UN and why it was made. WHO, World Health Organization, it is playing a vital role in this pandemic. UNICEF, United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund. So this is it from this exercise. We move forward to the next thing, that are adverbs. I have told you what are adverbs, what are the type of adverbs in the previous lesson, lesson number 3, I guess, last week. If you have learned all these, now the time has come to talk about the possible positioning of the adverbs in the sentence. So my dear students, position cannot be fixed of any type parts of speech, but if we can talk about the possible positions of adverb, there could be 3. At the beginning of a clause, it could be like suddenly the phone rang, and you can say the phone rang suddenly, you can say this. But to give importance to this idea, suddenly, the writer has used it at the initial position of the sentence or front position of the sentence. So if adverbs are used at the front position of the sentences, they are used for the for importance. Fortunately, nobody was injured. So it could be nobody was injured fortunately, yeah, or nobody was unfortunately or fortunately injured. So this could be like it. So it cannot be fixed, but mostly you need to remember adverbs are the parts of verbs, so they should be around the verbs. They should discuss in a way so that you can understand. When you will grow up, when you will go to the universities, you will see you can play with words. You can place it at the front, in the middle, at the end. So it's up to you. Big writers also use the techniques of playing with words, giving importance. For example, if I use the phone rang suddenly, so the importance would be on rang, phone rang. But if you can place suddenly at the start, as it is over here, the importance would be on suddenly, not the phone rang. So this is how the writers plays with the words. It could be in the middle position. I always exercise before work. They have completely forgotten about the appointment. He was probably late for the interview. So you see that here it is attached with the main verb. Forgotten, exercise, late, and it has been, all the adverbs are attached with the main verb. It could be at the end as well. You speak English well, please sit there, they are dinner quietly. So this I don't know, such kind of questions were appeared in the previous exams of board, but it couldn't be happen, it could appear, so we have to prepare ourselves. She comes here often, so you can attach it over here. She often comes here. Sometime the writer used often, comma, she comes here, so you can use it as well. He goes to Lahore sometimes. He sometimes go to Lahore. Sometimes, comma, he goes to Lahore. It's up to the writer of the. But what you need to do for your level, you have to put the sometime at the end of the sentence and often with the main verb. She often comes here. He goes to Lahore sometimes. The teacher was late, hardly ever. So you can use the teacher hardly ever was late. This does not look very good. So you can use the teacher was late, hardly ever. So you can place it at the end of the sentence. We are tired by the end of the day. So your common sense would play a big and vital role in placing the words. So use your common sense over here as well. So usually we'll use with tired. We are usually tired by the end of the day. I have posted a letter to them. I have just would be suitable. I have just posted a letter to them. So this common sense is prevailing over here, where we have to put the words. You cannot decide, my dear student. There are hundreds of adverbs. So you have to remember. You have to cram the use of where you have to. So if you are not cramming all the adverbs, that where to put this word, this adverb and this adverb, you should not do this right now. What you need to do, you need to use your common sense. He did his work carefully, so it will appear at the end of the sentence. I hope that you have learned the positioning of adverbs. One thing for certain over here is you have to use adverbs wherever you like, but with common sense. And what is common sense? I think common sense prevailed over here, inshallah. So you should not suddenly the phone rang, the phone suddenly rang, or suddenly phone rang. I mean, the common sense does not telling you this can be happen. So you have to put according to your common sense. It could be at the beginning of the clause, it could be with the main verb, or it could be end of the sentence. And now we are moving forward to the next topic of the lesson, that is present perfect continuous tense. In 8th class we have discussed thoroughly what is present perfect continuous tense. It talks about something in a continuous manner, but it has been done. So something has been going on for some time in the present and it has now completed. So this is present perfect continuous tense, in this topic we will learn the use of since and for as well in the coming slide. So to talk about present perfect continuous tense again, and for the recap of it, what is the main structure? You have to use helping verb has been or have been. Has been would be used with a similar subject, and have been would be used with plural subjects. Main verb would be verb plus ing form. I mean, you have to use first form plus ing as you are using in present continuous, past continuous, or in past continuous. So these are the structures of 4 types of sentences in present perfect continuous tense. My dear student, I want to ask you again, you should know what is the difference between sentence and tense. Sentence is a mixture of combination of words, and tense is all about time. Time can be divided to 3: present, past, and future. So this is tense. And now what is sentence? I like you. So this is the I like you. 3 words combination makes a sentence. So there's a difference between it, you need to know. So there are 4 types of sentence in present perfect continuous tense. There could be more as well. So what would be the structure? The structure of simple sentence, because I mostly have been considered as a plural subject or a plural form, but it is not plural in its nature, but it functions as plural. I have, and then you have to put been. I have been reading, that is a verb. So, and after that the use of since and for. I will discuss it later on in the next slide, inshallah, the use of since and for. So what you need to do, what you need to see over here is the use of helping verb, have been and has been. So this is clear to you. The next important thing is where to put not in negative sentence. Where to put the not, just and you can say in between your helping verbs, has been or have been. So what you need to do is has, then not, and then been. So for your ease, you always have to write been with the main verb, and in between has and been you have to put not. In case of interrogative sentence, I'm afraid this is a wrong structure over here. What you need to do is you have to put have instead of we over here, and you have to use we here instead of have. So it will become your interrogative sentence. Have we not been playing, and then the use of since and for 6 hours. And then if we talk about the use of double interrogative sentence, have you been seeing her? This is interrogative. When you put WH words or interrogative pronouns, it becomes double interrogative. For example, क्या वो 2 दिन से नमाज पढ़ रहा है? This is interrogative sentence. क्यों वो 2 दिन से नमाज पढ़ रहा है? It becomes your double interrogative sentence. What students mostly do, and the common mistake over here is what they do. They put WH words at front, and then immediately WH word they use subject. Why you, and then after have. Why you, and then have. Why you have. This is a wrong approach, my dear students. What you need to do, you need to remember why or how or when, any interrogative pronouns. When, have, right after WH words you have to put have. So when have, and then subject. When have you been seeing her? So कब से आप उसे देख रहे हैं? So this is important, my dear students, over here. Now the topic has changed, the use of since and for. If I can turn on, yes, there is. So the use of since and for. My dear students, we have been learning this, the use of since and for years. I hope you have initial information of it, or some knowledge about the use of since and for. My dear students, since is used with a particular time, with the point of the time, with a specific time, and for is used with non-particular time, or you can say unspecific time. You cannot decide which time the writer is talking about. For example, वो 2 दिन से नमाज पढ़ रहा है. Now which 2 days? Last week, last month, last year? We cannot decide. But if you can say वो Monday से स्कूल जा रहा है. So in a week there is only one Monday, or Sunday. Nowadays every day is a Sunday, like so the particular day. So in a week there is one day. So if the time is particular, if the use of particular point of time, you have to use since. Otherwise you have to use for. For your ease, I have mentioned a table over here. For 20 minutes, if the time is being mentioned, for example, since 9 a.m. in a day, 9 a.m. comes only one time, and in the evening it becomes 21 p.m. So you have to use 9 a.m. If we talk about 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, you have to use for this. If you can move forward to the time of days. So it will become the use of the names of the days of the week, you have to use since. But if he has used 2 days, 3 days, 5 days, you have to use for. If you can move forward to the next category, that is month. There are 12 months in a year. If he talks about a month, for example, from December, Jan, Feb, March, April, May, you have to use since. Otherwise, if he talks about 6 months से 4 माह से 2 माह से, what you need to do is you have to use for 6 months, for 2 months, for 3 months. The next category is the years. If you talk about 92, or you can, sorry, 92 is my birth, 1992 is my birthday, birth year, you can say. So if I'm say वो 1992 से सांस ले रहा था, it is my example, my living example. So this is a particular time, 1992. So this is your particular time, so you have to use since 1992. But if you talk about वो पिछले या वो 20 सालों से सांस ले रहा था, you have no particular idea about the time, so you have to use since 4 years, since 20 years. I'm sorry, for 20 years or for 4 years. If you can move forward, a similar case in the centuries, for a long time, since I left the school, forever, you can use it whenever you require. My dear students, so I hope that it is clear to you right now. In the grammar book where present perfect continuous tense is written, you can operate on, you can find more examples. I'm also attaching some of the key elements of present perfect continuous tense in the assignments or the supporting documents. You can download it and you can take help from it as well, and you can take help from your grammar composition book as well. But the point over here is you need to understand, if the time is particular, you have to use since. If the time is unspecific, you have to use for. Simple is the case. But my dear students, there is another case, exceptional case. If he says you have to use since with all these particular times, but with these unspecific times, if we put last, previous 20 minutes, previous 3 days, previous 6 months, then you also have to use since with all these all. So if the writer asks you to write पिछले 20 मिनट से, then you have to use since last 20 minutes, since last 3 days, since 6 months, since last 4 years. So this is what you need to do, my dear students. I hope this is clear to you right now. If there are further questions, you can ask me at my email account shahzadnabi09@gmail.com. I hope everything is clear to you. My dear students, in this lesson, what we have learned so far, we have talked about, if you can move back to the objectives, we have talked about the history of blue moss, when it was made, who was made it. We have distinguished the history of blue moss. We also try our level best, try our whatever we can do to comprehend the text with this explanation. We have explained each and every aspect of this lesson, and we also talk about the positioning of the adverbs and related with the previous week's lesson. That is your duty, that is your task. You have to relate the explanation of positioning of adverbs with the last week lesson number 3, where I have explained the concept of adverbs, and then illustrate the use of, yes, we have done with present perfect continuous tense, and then the use of since and for. I hope everything is clear to you. For the next lesson, my dear students, we are going to talk about suitable verbs and their usage in the sentence. It's a 5-mark question in your exams. Usually if you can look back to the previous past papers, you will find out a question of 5 marks, suitable verbs. So that is important question. So our next lesson would be on suitable verbs. For the sake of this lesson, I'm going to attach answer questions that we call comprehension questions. With this lesson, I'm also going to attach some of the sentences from Urdu language so that you can translate into English. The sentences would be on present perfect continuous tense. I'm also going to include, this is your homework, the use of since and for. There would be an exercise on the use of since and for. There will be multiple questions. You have to write it. So for this time, from my side, it is all. I hope everything is clear to you.